Check, check, 1, 2. Check. Check, 1, 2.
Some bright morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have gone, I'll fly away. Like a bird from the prison walls of fly, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, how glad and happy when we meet. I'll fly away. No more cold iron shackles on my feet. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, how glad and happy when we meet. I'll fly away. No more cold iron shackles on my feet. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. I'll fly away.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Holly, and I'm the pastor of Spirit Garage, and it's good to be here today for the Gospel According to Dolly, as performed by the Dollys. And so we're doing a bunch of songs that have been at least recorded by Dolly and the trio, which also includes Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris. And these folks, the Dollys, play pretty regularly, like once a month at the Ice House Brunch on sometimes Saturday. Often Saturdays now, sometimes Sundays. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And so I first heard them, I don't know, it was a long time ago. I didn't live here yet. And one of my friends took me to that brunch, and I've taken lots of people since then. Gail, Maris, you've all been there to hear that. Anyway, so I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks. So our worship format is a little bit different today. Like all of the normal things are in place, but except instead of a nice long message from me, you'll get little messages before each of the songs that sort of gives you some ideas for what to listen for as we talk about the gospel according to whatever is in the song lyric. So we try to pull, we do this not quite once a month, but we just try to pull musicians who have a catalog that's large enough, that has songs that sort of have some kind of gospel message in it. With Dolly, it's pretty easy. So there's a lot to choose from. That song you just heard, I'll Fly Away, we do that. We've done that one here before, as you know, because lots and lots of people perform I'll Fly Away. We're imagining Dolly did at some point. Sometimes it gets played at funerals, although not so much at Lutheran funerals if you happen to be a Lutheran. We more hear like Born and Cry and On Eagle's Wings. But it comes from a Baptist tradition, and it is also a great song for right now in this season of Easter. We're in our second week of Easter. That there is life beyond death, and we'll experience it here in this life. And we don't get to know what it looks like, but we know that life has been promised and hinted at. And some explanation comes that's probably more metaphorical than actual, but we hear Jesus say that in my Father's house there are many rooms, and I go to prepare a place for you. That we also often hear at funerals, right, John? Yeah. If it were not so, would I say this to you? So we live with that promise. I forgot to say a couple things. If you are new here and don't know quite what is going on in this wild, creative, quirky, and curious church, everybody drinks coffee all the time. Well, maybe not everyone. There's also tea, actually. And that's all in there with donuts. So you can just help yourself whenever you need to. And if you keep on going out through that doorway and then down the hallway, you will also find a bathroom that's for all kinds of bodies. And there are also more bathrooms downstairs, although they're more particular to a specific gender. So it's up to you how you want to relieve yourself. It's awkward every single week. Anyway, for now, we are here, still breathing in this life where we've been gathered together by God. So we breathe together, and we'll take some deep breaths as we center ourselves in this time of worship. Breathing in the breath of God, knowing that God, our Creator, is the one who draws us in, and we take a breath of fresh air that reminds us, too, that the Spirit blows all around us and through us. Igniting us and inspiring us. Who often, oh, there we go. It's just a little flame today. And Christ, who is liberating us in all kinds of ways every day. Oh, our spirit went out. The peace of Christ be with you all. And share a sign of that peace with one another, carefully and with some consent.
I'm coming back to my roots.
Peace be with you.
Good morning. Today's reading comes from Genesis 37, verses 1 through 4. Jacob settled in the land where his father had lived as an alien, the land of Canaan. This is the story of the family of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was shepherding the flock with his brothers. He was a helper to the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any other of his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he had made a long robe with sleeves. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him.
Nobody names their kids that anymore, do they? Bilhah, Zilpah. You know how this story goes, though, right? Either from the Bible or from the musical. Maybe it's been a while, because sometimes we don't hit these stories very often since Sunday school, maybe, and maybe you never even went to Sunday school. Joseph is a dreamer, and he has these dreams all the time. That's what happens in the story. It's like chapters and chapters long, so we just gave you a couple verses of it. He has these dreams all the time that make his family mad, because they're like dreams about, they're like symbolically saying, someday you're going to all bow down to me, and someday even mom and dad and everybody else will bow down to me too. And the whole family is wondering if what he's trying to say to them. So his brothers form this plot against him to strip him of his beloved robe that his father gave him. And first they think they'll kill him. And then they decide they'll just leave him in this pit. And then one of the oldest brothers thinks to himself, if he convinces the other brothers to leave him in the pit, then he can come back when they're all gone and take him out. And then he'll be able to take him back to the father and win his father's favor because he saved the one. And then what ends up happening is actually instead of putting him into a pit, they sell him into slavery into these passing merchants, I think is the word that they use. And so a few chapters go by, and he ends up serving this one guy whose wife expresses some interest in him. And he lands in jail because of that. But while in jail, he's also having conversations with people who are troubled by their dreams, and he becomes a dream interpreter. And then he gets, when he hears about the dreams, that ends up getting to higher places. Because the interpretations end up being like predictions of what will happen in the future, and they end up coming true in the story at least. And eventually this will lead him into this prominent place in Egypt near the Pharaoh. And part of what comes to pass is that he interprets dreams that there will be this famine in the land. And when the famine comes, the people there are more prepared for it because they've put away stockpiles, if I remember right. And so that's why his brothers are over in that land of Canaan, and they're starving. And they decide to go to Egypt where they know that there's food, and that's where the brothers see each other again. And eventually his father will find out that he's not actually dead. And with the same need for time, for forgiveness and grace, the family's all brought back together. That's the Cliff Notes version of this story, with this Joseph with his fine robe that, at least in Broadway terms, has been called the coat of many colors. And that's where we get the next story of this song that we're going to hear next. So keep in mind this original story from the book of Genesis as you hear this story, which also tells about a person being despised or made fun of in school for a coat that they were so proud to wear. Right. Amazing Technicolor dream coat, but today it's just the coat of many colors.
Back through the years I go wandering once again, back through the seasons of my youth. I recall a box of rags someone gave us and how my mama put those rags to use. They were rags of many colors, and every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was way back in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read about a coat of many colors Joseph wore, and then she said, perhaps this coat will bring you good luck and happiness. And I just couldn't wait to wear it, and Mama blessed it with a kiss. My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, she made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly. Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. So with patches on my breeches, holes in both my shoes, in my coat of many colors, I hurried off to school just to find the others laughing and making fun of me in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. I just couldn't understand it, for I felt I was rich, and I told them all the love mama sewed in every stitch. And I told them all the stories mama told me while she sewed, and how my coat of many colors was worth more than all their clothes. They didn't understand it, and I tried to make them see one is only cold only if they choose to be. Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. Yes, she made it just for me.
Bless you. This next song you're going to hear, High Sierras, talks about the ups and downs of life, and perhaps more importantly, how these ups and downs come with figuring out that you've been wrong about some things, probably. So this song was written by Harley Allen and originally recorded by the Trio. And a repeating line in this song is, I've been right, mostly wrong, wrong about you, right about me. And while this is probably originally meant to talk about some failed relationship, I kind of like thinking about what it has to say about our connection with God. Wrong about you, right about me, because didn't the disciples get so many things wrong when they were walking around with Jesus, asking to be the one who sits on his right when he comes into his glory, when he's like seated on the throne, those were their words, cutting off the ear of the guard, denying that they'd be the ones to deny him when he totally called it all, and never intended to be that kind of a king. Or all kinds of stuff in the Hebrew Bible that I like to think was the process of getting to know who God was and what God was about. But on the way there, assuming God's wrath and vengeance and smiting people, we maybe get that part of God a little wrong. I hope we get it a little wrong. Yeah, I was going to suggest that. But it's right about us. We do get angry and jealous and petty and self-important. And so anyway, in just a moment, when we get the microphone situation figured out, we'll start that one. So sorry. Yep.
Check, check, check. There we go. I've been higher than the high Sierra, lower than Death Valley must be. I've been right, mostly wrong. Wrong about you, right about me. The way I feel, I can't explain. So much passion turned to pain. Sun still shines most of the time. Did you know the sun shines when it rains? I've been higher than the high Sierra, lower than Death Valley must be. I've been right, mostly wrong. Wrong about you, right about me. I've been cussed and I've been praised. I've done nothing these days. I'll come back, time will see if I'm wrong about you, right about me. I've been higher than the high Sierra, lower than Death Valley must be. I've been right, mostly wrong. Wrong about you, right about me. Wrong about you, right about me.
If we often get things wrong, Well, then this next song perhaps can teach us maybe a better way with a bit more humility. It comes from a place of wonder and curiosity instead of what might be a more natural stance of assuming that we know what's going on all the time. So this next song is called Farther Along, and it's another Southern gospel song that the trio recorded. It's a song that wonders about how it is that all the people who seem to be bad people, I won't name any names, are the ones who seem to prosper. Like, it doesn't always pay to do the right thing. Man, if our newsreels don't show that to us every single day. Witness the Murdoch family. Oh, I just named a name. But there's literally TV shows about murdering people, right? So, or any number of other people who do just fine in the wake of egregious sins that create chaos for lots and lots of people. I can only imagine, I mean, this song's oldest known printing is from 1911, and in a Church of God hymnal, but who knows how long it's been sung before that. And since 1911 is within the lifetime of people who lived for when slavery ended, I should say, quote unquote, ended, and the Reconstruction time, which set in place laws that effectively kept people enslaved. This song probably had a lot to say to the people who had experienced slavery and lived and died at the whims of slaveholders and landowners and everyone who profited from that evil enterprise, which is, of course, still going on in all kinds of places in the world, including here with human trafficking. Whether in that time in our history or this one, the task is the same, to live in the sunshine and trust that we will understand it at some point farther along. Now, I hope what we come to understand is not why evil people seem so successful, but why their success isn't always what it seems to be, and not why slavery might be okay, because it's not. That's my hope. So here's Farther Along.
Tempted and tried, we're off made to wonder how it shouldn't be thus all the day long. While there are others living about us, never molested, though in the wrong.
When death has come and taken our loved ones, it leaves our home so lonely and grief. Then do we wonder why others prosper, living so wicked year after year. Father, Allah will know all about it. Father, Allah will understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Faithful till death, and our loving Master. A few more days to labor and wait. Toils of the road will then seep as nothing
Okay, so this next song we're going to hear is another song recorded by the trio, Dolly, Linda, Emmylou Harris, and contains a word that we do not talk about anymore, and we don't use anymore. The song is called Hobos Meditation, and it's a song written by Jimmy Rogers in 1932, so in the height of the Great Depression. And in that time, all kinds of people hopped trains to try to find their way to better work or a better place to live that maybe had anything, because there's lots going on in that time with the Dust Bowl and all of that. So the term hobo originally referred to those folks who rode trains that were looking for work. We don't use the term anymore because there aren't so many people hopping trains looking for work. But somewhere, well, actually there are. That happens on a train that's called the Beast that comes from like places like El Salvador and Honduras. We're not going to use any words to call folks like that anything because they're just people, right? All right, moving on. Somewhere along the line, that word, hobo, becomes synonymous with people who are homeless and is derogatory, so that's why we don't use it. This song, though, comes from that time when folks were riding the rails, which was, of course, dangerous for all kinds of obvious reasons that hopping on the outside of a train are dangerous, but also because you could find train attendants or rail property folks or cops who didn't like what you were doing and maybe beat you because of that. So this song wonders about all those things in the future. Again, a song that's thinking about what that heaven might look like. What's the afterlife look like for a person who's been riding the trains? Does heaven have trains? Is there going to be work? Will they always be roaming? And the harder questions of life lived on the bottom of the economic scales, which will there still be rich and poor? Will people respect each other? Will people respect me, us? Will we be hurt? Everyone gets some kind of idea of what heaven looks like, right? When I do funerals, I often ask people to tell me what that room in heaven looks like. If we have this in God's house, there are many rooms, and I go to prepare a place for you. Like, what does your room look like? So for the folks who were riding the rails, of course, your imagination is limited to what your experience has been, and I suspect that everyone's idea of what it looks like is shaped by their lived experience in this world. And so this is also true for folks who rode the rails in one of the harder times in our nation's history. And we will hear Hobos Meditation.
Last night as I lay on the boxcar, just waiting for a train to pass by, what will become of the hobo whenever his time comes to die? There's a master up yonder in heaven, got a place that they might call home. Will we have respect for the hobo, or can we continue to roam? Will there be any freight trains in heaven? Any boxcars in which we might hide? Will we be any tough cops or brakemen? Will they tell us that we cannot ride? Will the hobos chum with the rich men? Will we always have money to spare? Will they have respect for the hobo in that land that lies hidden up there? there be any freight trains in heaven? Any boxcars in which we might hide? Will there be any tough cops or brakemen? Will they tell us that we cannot ride? Will the hobos chum with the rich men? Will we always have money to spare? Will they have respect for the hobo in that land that lies hidden up there?
Good morning, Spirit Garage. I invite you to pray with me. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together today. We seek to find community with you and ask you to keep us in your truth throughout all that occupies us in our daily lives. May we be filled with wonder and curiosity and know that we are uniquely created in your image. Thank you for helping us hold firm to our course and purpose here on earth, despite
Well, I am a vessel. It's empty and useless. I am a ship out by the way. I am a loser that wants to be a winner. You are the last hope that I pray. On my knees when you reach down and lead me, guide me and keep me in the shelter of your care each day. Yeah. On my knees, I am a seeker. You are a teacher. You are a leader. Won't you show me the way? Well, I am a seeker, a poor simple creature. There is no weaker than I am. I am a seeker. You are a teacher. You are a reacher. So reach out, reaching out for you. When you reach down and lead me, guide me and keep me in the shelter of your care each day. Yeah. On my knees, I am a seeker. You are a teacher. You are a leader. Won't you show me the way? Well, I am a vessel. It's empty and useless. I am a ship out by the way. I am a loser that wants to be a winner. You are the last hope that I pray. Oh, when you reach down and lead me, you guide me and keep me in the shelter of your care each day. Yeah. On my knees, I am a seeker. You are a teacher. You are a leader. Won't you show me the way? You are a leader. Won't you show me the way? Ooh.
This is goofy. The body and blood of our Lord Jesus Christ strengthen you and keep you in God's grace. And now I'm going to do announcements from over here. Okay, it's kind of a lot of announcements. We should have given you guys chairs. So just sit tight for a second. First of all, offering, there's a can up here. If someone wants to get up from their low-seated couches and pass that around, that'd be great. But Otherwise, you can join most of everybody else who gives via text or on the website, and that's how you do that. I'm going to have Ben and Will come up here now, because I told you like a month ago that we were having the confirmation students choose some of where our first quarter offering went, and we did that yesterday as part of our confirmation lesson. They last month learned from Melissa, talked about the offering and giving and stewardship in general, and then what we have done is created a Kiva account for Spirit Garage, and so we did microloans, and each of the 4 students who are in confirmation were given $100 and to decide where they wanted, who they thought they should give those loans to. So Ben and Will are gonna tell you about their 2 today, and I think and then Jacinda and Hudson will tell you on a different day. All right, you guys go ahead.
Is this working now? Yeah. All right. So I had 2 people, and Ben had 3, and we're gonna share them. All right.
So the first person is Vanita. She's a single mother, and she has 4 kids, and she makes a living by selling pancakes in her community. So she needs a loan to help fund for supplies for making pancakes. So she needs to buy like bags of flour and yeast and a new oven. So this business will help pay for her family's expenses.
So this guy, his name is Wyatt. He's like the founder of this store, and it's a mobile convenience store. And he began when he was a student at Northwestern Indiana College. He concentrated on business classes while getting experience starting as a stock boy and now a warehouse manager. Working in the warehouse allowed him to meet vendors and support him who helped him develop his idea. He plans to eventually have a brick and mortar store.
The next person is Oleshino. She's using this loan to provide high-quality solar light to thousands of off-grid families and to over 38,000 households across the country. This is working to fill the government's dream of bringing reliable electricity to its 1 million off-grid citizens by 2030.
So this guy, his name is Emick. He's a immigrant. He had to sell all of his stuff to move to New York, so now he's trying to get a loan to get all of his audio equipment, camera, lenses, and video stuff.
Lamboni lives in Naima and works from home. He is an entrepreneur, and the majority of what he does requires internet usage. He has people around that use the internet a lot. So as a businessman, he wants to use this opportunity to provide those with affordable quality internet. So he wants to set up an outdoor Wi-Fi hotspot. So he requires a loan of $725 American dollars, and he is fully funded.
Yeah, he got fully funded partially from your loan and partially from another one that came in since we did that yesterday, right? So that's cool. So we've got some infrastructure stuff for people around the country with internet and solar power, and some like servicing neighborhoods that maybe don't get invested in by businesses with a convenience store, right? Yeah. So very cool. Good choices. Thanks. And thanks to all of you for the ways that you give. And the ways that our dollars can stretch all the way around the world, and then we get to watch how those loans come back and re-give them out to other people. Okay, here's some other things to know. Yeah, I send out an email once a week, and that is the best way to get all the latest information about what happens at Spirit Garage, so try to make sure you get on that list. You can always get off it, it's fine. All right, next. If you're new here, scan that QR code so that we can know who you are and how to stay in touch with you. And I'll just add, we do have a few people who are going to be joining the church next week. Can you raise your hand if you're one of those people so you can see? There's about 15 people who are going to be joining Spirit Garage next week. So, yeah, pretty cool. Yep. What's our next slide? Yep, so the things that you see people do include reading the scripture, giving announcements, helping set up coffee or put the signs out or turn the lights on and turn the lights off, and serving communion, and all of that can be done by almost anyone. So you can sign up any week you want to help out with that stuff. Next. We are also connected to Mental Health Connect, so if you or someone else are struggling with some mental health stuff and need to be able to talk to someone and maybe get some ideas about other resources you may not know about, contact them. Every Tuesday night, I am reading to the kids. We are in actually book 2 of the Wrinkle in Time series. It's called A Wind in the Door, Through the Door. I can't remember now. There's dragons and all kinds of stuff in it. So that happens every Tuesday night at 7:30. And yes, we have an open mic night coming up that Ani and Jason will be hosting together. Where is Ani? Oh yeah, right. Of course she is. They are. They will be here hosting, but it's also a really great time to have casual time getting to know our brand new musician, director of music here at Spirit Garage. So that's exciting. Come out. We'll have pizza, and we will hear stories and music and all kinds of other things. So those are fun nights. I hope you can make it. It's next Thursday, right? This Thursday. Whew, boy, time. Okay, what's next? And then on Sunday, people who are in general in middle school will be going to an Earth Day fair and cleanup at Woodlake Nature Center. You can register at that QR code, or you can register online. Next. And then the week after, the next Sunday morning, we will be doing our worship that we call A Different Lens. Actually, Michelle, do you want to announce this part? And take over with those announcements, that part of announcements? Yep.
Do my best.
Okay.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks, ooh, that's hot. In 2 weeks, Reverend Emmy Kegler will be here, and she will be our Different Lens speaker, and she's also going to join us for lunch after worship, and then hang around and field some of our questions that we might have. You may know, or you will know very soon, that we've been going through some clunky question videos relating to the LGBTQIA or queer community, and Emmy has volunteered to stick around and respond to our questions. Our own clunky questions. There will be an opportunity to submit anonymous clunky questions online with that email that Holly talked about. Or the day of, we'll have papers for people just to write your clunky questions out. And I think we're planning to order Chipotle for lunch. So it'll be good food and time to just listen and learn and be more aware of our blind spots, which is a lot of the work that our Reconciling in Christ team is doing. So, and Holly has in her hands a glossary that we've put together, the Reconciling in Christ team put together. It's 10 pages long, so lots and lots and lots and lots of terms about sexual orientation, gender identity, and self-expression. That is an acronym some people will call SOGI. So anyhow, I'm Michelle, and I'm on that team, but Pastor Holly is also on the team, and so is Adrian, who's not here, and so is Scott. So you'll see us more, and I think we have a Clunky Questions video, which is a really good one. Its title today is, Why Do You Base Your Relationships Solely on Sex?
Why do you base your relationship solely on sex?
I don't.
I base my relationships on trust and communication.
People have been reducing the gay community to just sex for centuries. By reducing an entire population of the LGBTQ community to just one aspect of the human experience misses out on both the individual nature of each of us and the complex variety that exists within our community.
I guess there's this idea that if I'm saying I love men, that means that my entire thought process is about the male physique, the male physicality, the male genitalia. And that's not fair, that's not true.
I think part of the mainstream ethos has been to maintain ways of how we perceive individual groups. In the gay community, I think that there's been different ways that fear has been induced, and I think that historically, as we've navigated through society, there's been a very specific way of looking at what are the things that are different, or what are the things that are not moral, as a way not to embrace, but to subjugate people as being bad.
By saying that gay people are just about sex, it's like saying the straight people are just about money. You're reducing us to just one element of our life.
So I identify as queer, but I do not base my relationships solely on sex, having sex, or my sexuality. I don't allow my sexual identity to completely subsume my life. I'm a grad school student. I'm a business owner. I am a daughter and a sister. I'm a friend. I'm so many other things besides my sexuality.
But for other people in this identity, trans people, intersex people, their relationship or their identity in this sense isn't based on sex. Now that doesn't mean that you can't be, intersexed and bisexual or trans and asexual or all of those things. Sex is only one part of who we are as people, and I also think that it's an important part. You shouldn't just deny that or whatever. That's part of your God-given identity.
It's an identity, but it is not an entire person.
Teaching young people that sexuality is a gift, that extension of our physical being, that ability to become so close to another is sacred.
Okay, thanks, Ani. I also want to say we have these books that are by the person who's speaking next week, Emmy, and I have them for $15 here. There's a few left if you want to buy one today, and that is our book read for the month. So the week after Emmy is here, so the first Wednesday in May is when we'll meet to discuss this book. You can also get it on Amazon, but I bought these right from the author, so probably helps. Also, our Easter theme is the physicality of faith, because all the Easter stories have such great embodied stuff in them. And this is a little, a guide for you to take home and think about for your own self, for your own practices for Easter. And so there's a whole bunch of those, along with those glossaries that Michelle talked about over by there's a table over there. Did I forget anything else that's in the announcements? Books, open mic. What? Oh, there is a game night. Yeah, it's later on in May, so like May 12th or something like that. In case you want to go wherever that is. The game night is on a Friday night. No, it's on a Saturday night. And Rachel is hosting that. You'll hear about it. There's also an event that I'm interested in going to, and I'd love to know if you would be interested in going with me, that Redeemer is helping host. It's next week. It's called Song for Change. That's at 4 o'clock after the Earth Day thing with the students. So if you're interested in checking that out with me and going up to Redeemer, please let me know. I'll put that in the email this week. I think that's most of our announcements. I will say we had some tech problems today. It's what happens when Jason goes away. But a huge thank you to the scrambling that was done by Ani and Alex and AJ, all the A's. And an apology to you for losing your sound at one point, and Melissa too. I'm not gonna, oh yeah, that's coming up later. We can talk about that later too. Okay, good. I'm not gonna try to pull gospel out of these next two songs, but they are gonna leave us with two more songs that we just couldn't not do if we're gonna have them here. So go for it.
Oh, sometimes I go walking through fields where we walked long ago in the sweet used to be. And the flowers still grow, but they don't smell as sweet as they did when you picked them for me. And when I think of you and the love we once knew, how I wish we could go back in time. Do you ever think back on old memories like that? Or do I ever cross your mind? Miss a feeling and the love we share you with me. Tell me, darling, oh, do I ever cross your mind?
How often I wish that again I could kiss your sweet lips like I did so long ago. How often I long for the two loving arms that once held me so tender and close.
And when I think of you and the love we once knew, how I wish we could go back in time. Do you ever think back on old memories like that? Or do I ever cross your mind? Do I ever cross your mind? Tell me, darling, do I ever cross your mind? stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawn and stretch, trying to come to life. I jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the street, the traffic starts bumping with folks like these on a job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. Ooh, left your dreams just to watch them shatter. Just a step on the boss man's ladder. But you got dreams you'll never take away. You're in the same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day your ship will come in. The tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. Sneak attack. Yes, yes. This is Doug Otto. He also has a band that his own original, Doug Otto and the Getaways. So if you like what you hear, check them out. Shane Akers back here on the dobro. Blair Krivenik on the guitar. Nick Salisbury on the bass. They are in several bands, all three of them. So you can find them on our website and friend them on their social medias, and then they'll advertise the other bands they're playing with. If you like to go hear live music, they're amazing, all of them, each band that they're in. This is Megan Shaw.
Thank you.
And I'm Kari Shaw Akers. Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. This is wonderful. This is a really cool community and amazing worship space you have here. So thanks so much.